Orisa will change the Overwatch meta forever and in so many ways, guys. Let's talk about some of the ways she could change the meta and the game in general upon her release. So I was on Reddit the other day browsing because I knew the new hero was out. I wanted to see what people thought about her, and I saw a comment that stuck out, and this comment was, well, now it's just Barrier Watch. And this is so true. So I mean, so welcome to Barrier Watch, guys. People have found out that Rein along with Orisa makes a great combo with a ton of shields. It makes holding choke points amazing right now in the game. So you've got to think of it like this. Orisa puts down a 900 health barrier. Whenever that's destroyed, Rein moves in the way, and then by the time Rein's barrier is down, Orisa's barrier is back up. So essentially, you're looking at 3,800 shields from both of them combined to hold that choke. This is even better than before whenever you had D.Va who could stand in for Rein while he had his shield charged back up, while she just sat there and caught the projectiles. And then he'd step back in the way and they'd rotate like that. So Orisa will definitely be in the meta whenever she comes to the game. She's very, very strong right now. A lot of people are enjoying her and they're getting a lot of really good plays off with her. She has a ton of utility with it pretty much acts like a little graviton surge that moves, right? It pulls people towards it. You can pull people off edges. I'm sure you guys have seen that all over YouTube. She shoots down the 900 health barrier. Her ultimate increases kind of the, I don't know exactly how much damage it does. I'm assuming it's around a mercy buff since it's an entire team of people who are getting it. But her ultimate gives people damage buffs. And then, of course, her shift ability reduces the damage that she takes by 50% for, I believe, 5 seconds. It might be 6. I'm not 100% sure. Sorry. So she's a very, very strong character, and she has a lot of utility right now. Mix her with Rein, and you've got a really, really good comp right there just for your frontliners. So how do you beat that? How do you break that static anchor tank and then that mobile anchor tank? Well, I'm going to cover a couple of ways just really quick here. So you want the high damagers, right? You want high damagers. There's 3 types of people who are going to be able to deal with this. You got flankers, disruptors, and then your really high damagers. I probably should have came up with a better name for high damagers than that, but it is what it is. We're going with it. Right, so who's the best in the game at destroying barriers? It's kind of up for debate, but it's kind of Bastion, especially right now in the meta. Bastion runs wild, but he is getting nerfed, so he's kind of the unpredictable variable here. Whenever Orisa comes live, what will come in that same patch that nerfs Bastion? Because we know he's getting nerfed, we just don't know how bad and what's going to actually carry over into live. Another person who can counter him is the absolute worst person in the game right now. Person in the weakest state, it is Junkrat. Junkrat does amazing at destroying these barriers. Does a ton of damage. He can just spam into him. Obviously, his shift ability can do a ton of damage into him. And he can throw that behind to kind of blow up and kind of disrupt the people behind. Maybe blow Reinhardt forward or something like that. Next, you're going to have Zen. The reason why I'm putting Zen on this list is not so much because he himself does a ton of damage, but because he throws the orb on somebody and then they can do a ton of damage. So you want to use something like Zen along with Junkrat so that you can down the barriers and then get in there and do what you need to do to these people. And then, of course, you have Hog, who is somewhat out of the meta right now, since his Hook 3.0 went through and it's not as good as Hook 2.0, which was a good change. But at close range, he still does a ton of damage. Left click and right click still can do a lot of damage. So if you're in a barrier standoff, you know, your Reinhardt and your Orisa are kind of doing the same thing as the other one and you're pretty close to one another, Reinhardt's going to be able to win that fight for you, especially if you have something like a soldier. And then again, Bastion, the unpredictable variable, if he's still good enough and he's in there and both teams have that, then I mean, it's going to get pretty crazy there. So disruptors, the top disruptor, and I hate that I'm saying this, is Sombra, right? So if this becomes the meta, this shield Overwatch, you know, this barrier watch becomes the meta, then you are going to see Sombra in just about every comp. The reason why is because she turns off barriers. She can also turn off Bastion effectively, right? If she EMPs that area, boom, that's the best initiation you will ever get on this type of a comp. Of course, you have Pharah, somebody who can actually E kind of behind them to blow them out of that choke, and maybe you guys can pick up a kill depending on that. That's kind of a riskier one, especially if they have something like a Bastion who can just kind of shoot you out of the air. Orisa does kind of have issues shooting you out of the air as a Pharah because of their projectile as opposed to hit scan. So I would be kind of careful there, but chances are they're going to have an Ana, so you're going to be under a lot of fire. I don't know how well that'll work. That's just kind of a thought of mine. One that I think will work pretty well is somebody like a Mei. The reason why is because Mei has really good initiation. So what you can do is you can kind of poke that choke That kind of rhymed. But what you can do is you can like have a look in the choke and kind of start fighting and whatnot. And if you can put a wall in the right position and then just have good communication with your team, and they just you wall off and they just go in there and they destroy a person or two people, whoever you catch in there. Not to mention you have blizzards, so if what you can do is you can just huck blizzard out there and it'll do its thing. And then the last one that I was going to bring up, it's ult based, and it's not really a disruptor so much as a zonal usage of an ult. So what you have is you have the Hanzo and the Diva ult, and it has to be very well timed for this. But what you're looking for is you want to scatter people. So what you want to do is you pretty much, say your first point Hanamura, you're trying to take that first point, you're still outside of the choke, and you want to throw your Diva bomb in there. What you want to do is you want to throw it right in the choke, make sure it doesn't go in the door, try and like wedge it in some area right in the face of it so that it'll hopefully take out the shield of Orisa and then scatter these people, because chances are they'll get behind the Rein shield, but that's completely fine. What you're doing is you're wanting to disrupt them in there so that you guys can all move in immediately. Same thing with the Hanzo. If he comes from a good angle and he gets that dragon off, then he's gonna have a lot of success in there, and you guys can push in and trade. And I mean, like, even if you don't win that battle there, I mean, like, that's what you want, is you want that breakdown, you want that scatter of people. You want them to be disoriented, even if it's for a short amount of time, so you can do what you need to do. And lastly, you have the flankers. The flankers, what they're gonna be good for is they're gonna draw attention, right? They're gonna split the planes of attention. So as opposed to everyone looking at the choke, you're gonna have, Genji, Sombra, Reaper, Tracer behind, picking at these people. Not Reaper. I don't know why I said Reaper. Reaper is on this list as kind of a flanker, but it's because of his ult. So what you want from Genji is you just want him to go around to the back and kind of poke at the healers, find safe spaces to be, and just kind of get that poke off. And if your team is making a push, communicate it to the Genji so that he knows this is the time that he should go in and kind of do a lot of damage to the backline, do a lot of damage to the healers, try and disrupt some people. Try and make them focus on more things than just the choke point where your team's at. Because honestly, if you get two people to look at the same Genji and try and kill him, that means you only have 4 looking at the choke where you have 5 people pushing at. So you're kind of in control of that push right there, and chances are you can get through a little bit better. When it comes to Sombra, I have 2 quick little examples for Sombra. One is, of course, EMP. She just pokes from the backline, and so she gets the EMP up, and then she just EMPs everybody, and then that's the best engage you'll ever get in the game. She has one of the best ones because it just turns everything off, right? And then your team just rushes in. The other example is, say Bastion is something like up high on Hanamura, the place that a Bastion's going to be sat. Say him and Reinhardt are up there or something like that, and then you have Orisa and the rest of the team down there in the choke. What you can do is you can hack the Bastion and then EMP the rest of them, and then your team can push in, and then you can kind of poke at the Bastion and whatnot and be just a pain to him and try and keep him hacked so that your team can actually move in and start cleaning these people up. So whenever it comes to Reaper, I would say try and find your flanking position for your ultimate only. Again, he's similar to Roadhog. Whenever you're super close and having that barrier war, he can do a ton of damage to the enemy barrier, so he's very useful there. But whenever he gets his ultimate up, he can kind of flank around and drop in and ult everybody and kind of clean him up. Even if he dies in it and you get 3 kills, that's still worth it. Same thing, 2 kills, say they're both the healers, or healer and Bastion or something like that. That's still very much worth it. And then Tracer is probably the least used one on this because, she's really squishy, and if it's a choke, that means it's probably the only way that you're going to get through here. Whereas everybody else kind of has a way that they can maneuver around, right? Reaper can teleport, Genji can just climb walls, and then Sombra can throw her teleport and go invisible. Whereas Tracer has to actually blink through the choke point, so she's not as good as the other ones, but she can actually get behind him, and she can do quite a bit of damage. She can survive for quite a bit as long as you don't just get killed immediately. And then she has her pulse bomb, which she can kind of disrupt with a little bit. So those are all the specific people that I think can kind of mess up this next comp, or this next meta that we're gonna see come out. Because I hate to say it, guys, but I think triple tank meta is back, or it was gone for like a couple of weeks, I guess, at most. But I think it's back. And here's what I think your setup's gonna be. You're looking at Orisa and Rein, of course, because they're 2 very strong frontline tanks, followed by Ana, and then Mercy, Zarya, Bastion, right? If Bastion gets nerfed too much, then switch out the Bastion for a soldier, and then switch out the Mercy for something like a Lucio. maybe a Zenyatta, depending on how well he does in this. The reason why I think this is going to be a really good comp is because Zarya is still very, very strong. Rein's obviously strong. Roadhog has kind of fallen out of the meta, and all the barriers in the game right now are going to kind of make it hard to land his hooks, especially if it's high tier games, because the barriers are probably going to always be up, because people know barrier cooldowns whenever they get to pretty high levels. So how do you counter something like this? I think what you're looking at is a dive comp. I think that dive comp could probably counter this pretty well, but you're going to have to be really coordinated on it and play it very smart. So if they have a Bastion, again, Bastion's the unpredictable variable right now, because we don't know where he's going to land in the meta after this patch goes live. But if Bastion's good, and if they have a Bastion, what you're looking at is Winston, D.Va, Sombra, Soldier, Ana, and then Zen or Lucio, depending on what you guys want to do. So Winston obviously is great for dive comp. He's really out of the meta right now, and I feel bad because I like Winston. I don't play Winston, but I like Winston players. Usually he takes a lot of skill to play, and I love watching Winston players. But then you have D.Va. The reason why you have D.Va is because D.Va can destroy all of the bullets coming from the Bastion, right? So her job, of course, would be something like going to the Bastion and just eating those bullets while you guys destroy them. Sombra, what she's going to do for you is either initiate or hack the Bastion, or hack something to drop a barrier so that you guys can get some decent initiation in there. Soldier and Ana, obviously you have the nano visor right there, plus you have two very, very strong people in the meta right now. And then the reason why I said Zen prior to this was because, or Zen or Lucio, is because Lucio can give you that speed boost to just get in there immediately, whereas Zen kind of has the Transcendence and the Discord Orb, and then Lucio's ultimate obviously kind of does the same thing as the Transcendence, where it allows you to kind of get in there just immediately. And then I was thinking, if they don't have a Bastion, you're looking at something like Winston, an Orisa of your own, Sombra, Soldier, Ana, and then Zen Lucio again. The reason why you want to do this with a dive comp is because you want that immediate initiation. You want hard engage, as hard of engage as you can, and you want to be able to clean it up afterwards. So of course Winston can be in there in a moment's notice because he can jump in and then just throw down his shield, and then everybody else can come in. Orisa, because she can actually pull people together and whatnot and kind of move them around as she wants to, and then put down the barriers, and then she can reduce the damage she takes by 50%. Sombra, because she's really good engage. If you can get the EMP off, or you can hack somebody who's a key target, you're in a really good spot with her. Soldier, of course, because Soldier's really strong and they haven't nerfed him yet. He still does a ton of damage. He's overpowered in my opinion. I'm a Soldier main. And then Zen or Lucio, depending on which one you want to go. Again, same thing as the last one. And then if you decide, you know what, I don't really want a Sombra for this one, I would say switch off to something like a Mei. The reason why is because you can wall people off with Mei. And same thing as I said prior to this. You can wall people off and kind of get in there and freeze people and kill them. And then Blizzard's a great engagement ult, because it pretty much gives you free kills as long as you lock it down. As long as you use Blizzard at the right time, you're going to get some decent kills, and then you can take the team fight from there. Even if you get one kill, that's a decent, I guess, pick. This is probably the worst thing that you want to do, is just get one kill. What you're looking for is, you want 3 kills from Blizzard, because it's very, very strong. I mean, you can use it as a zonal ult, but I mean, not whenever you're doing a dive comp. You want initiation off of it. So what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments. Do you think I'm right about anything? Do you think I'm an absolute idiot because I'm saying what I've said, I guess? Just let me know down in the comments, because I want to know, because I love learning about the game. And I love Overwatch in general, and I really like Orisa, and I want to see where the game heads next whenever she comes to live. If you enjoyed the video, check out some of my other videos, and if you like those too, then maybe subscribe, because it helps my tiny channel grow. And as always, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Yeah, and you don't stop, and you won't stop, and you don't stop, and you won't stop. Yep, yep.